This is Lowell Leibarger, Arkansas Tech University media librarian. When I'm not at the audio lab or the video lab or the media lab in the ATU library, I'm at home, mixing, mastering, and producing electronic music. Long ago, it was one of my goals to become some version of Morpheus from The Matrix. Alas, I do not have the swag that this man exudes. So let's begin. Doesn't matter if you take the red pill or the blue pill, let's crack the code of the Presonus mixer, also known as Soundboard. Let's go. Check, 1, 2, 3, check. Okay, wow, we are live and it looks pretty good. The levels. Okay, so this is the mixer, the Presonus Studio Live 32SX, and it is a spaceship. Compared to the previous analog mixer, which you could call a dump truck, this thing is like the most advanced interstellar spacecraft that you can think of, and I only use a small portion of it, and it's all set up and ready to go, and you really don't have to worry about doing all kinds of other features. I can provide more training in terms of the more advanced features that I have figured out. So let's go ahead and take a look at the very specific setup that we have going on for the Techionery Theater. One of the first things that we need to understand is the concept of signal flow. So in this case, the source of the sound is the laptop. Of course, you could hook up your phone, you could hook up another sound making device, doesn't matter, but you identify the source of the sound. Then you make sure the correct cables are plugged into the input device and then the output device. So in this case, what we see with this particular setup is that we have the sound source, number one, the laptop, plugs into controller for sound source one, which is this passive controller, the silver white box. And then from there, in those two white Rockville cables, it goes into the input to auxiliary one. And then from the mixer, you control the correct fader, the gain of source one. In the case of the lectern in the Techionery, which is on the stage there, the podium, that is source number 2. That's the tape in. Okay, those are two RCA jacks, inputs that get connected to the mixer, and then from there you control the gain fader for that particular device. The gain is how strong the signal is that you send into the mixer, the strength of the signal. That's very important. And then the master fader is not for all the speakers in the Techionery Theater. It is only for a single speaker, of which many different inputs can be sent to that specific speaker. I'll explain this in further detail in the next section. A quick mention about the lamp that really helps illuminate the mixer here. I went out and got this because it's designed for it. It's called BNC lamp, and it's very typical. It's due to its connection, so you just twist this up and then you can lift it off. So that's what's called a BNC connector. It's used for different things, and this is the, there we go. There is the connection. So usually it's tucked down over here, left underneath the mixer, and then you can just pop this in like so, and then twist it, and then there you go. And that really helps in case you need a little more light. Also, you can get it, put it on the play script further down here or anywhere you really need it. So in general, I usually like to have this off, and then you just twist it counterclockwise, then lift it off. There you go. Okay, so here's the basic setup. We are in front of the digital mixer, and then right next to it is the main control of the source, not the actual mixer, but the source going into the mixer. And then you have your computer. The computer is hooked up through the headphone jack in, and then that goes into the inputs right here. And then the outputs are these 1/4-inch jacks, the white ones, going into here, and then it's going into the auxiliary 1 input, not the tape in. Okay, the tape in is reserved for the lectern on the stage. So usually those are these 2 RCA jacks. So the main way to control the sound for a theater production is to take the cues from the stage manager or follow the script. And all you do is you load up your media player on the computer, load up the sounds. You can trigger them as you wish, and then you can control the knob and fade in and fade out. There's also a mute button on the knob here next to it. So if you have to suddenly cut the sound, you can just do that instantly. But usually all you have to do is just turn it to the left all the way down so you have no sound whatsoever. And then again, I usually try and aim to go around noon time right here, 12 o'clock, okay? And it's really very simple. I recommend the Resonic free media player because it shows you the sound visually. Everything else should be set on the mixer. The main way to control each speaker is through what's called, in Presonus mixer terms, the flex mix. Let's just call it a mix. So mix 16 refers to output 16, which is to the right of you if you're facing the stage. To the left is mix 15. Let me just get a little closer. So mix 16. Mix 15. Mix 14. Mix 13. Mix 12. Mix 11. 10. 9. 8. Then mix 1 and 2. All the speakers are angled in the direction of the listening sweet spot. And there I am standing at the listening sweet spot. You control the mixes in different ways. So mix 1 and 2 are designed to play back tape 1, or the tape in. The tape input is right here. A1 or aux1 input is for the source, the laptop that will play back the sound effects. A2 is not used. So these are the 2 main inputs that you should be concerned about. Tape in for the lectern, the computer and overhead projector, and then A1, which is the input from the laptop that plays various sound effects and music. You control the level of each input with these faders. So this is A1 and this is tape 1. You control the level of each output to each speaker depending on the flex mix chosen. So when I choose 16, I can choose whether to bring in the tape input, or I can bring in the auxiliary 1 input, which is the laptop. I can control the amount of signal being sent to each speaker using this master fader. It's important to realize that the master fader is not for all the speakers all at once. You can control that at the source with this excellent passive volume control device that we have here. This is the white and silver device. Usually I try and aim for it to be around negative 20 decibel, okay? And so you can see about right there, about 12 o'clock. But you can adjust it however you need to. So this should be pretty much set and forget. The main way to actually interact with this is your knob and then control with the computer. I will show the computer in just a second. Here is this program that I recommend for playback of music and sound effects for theater productions, or really any stage production. So this is called Resonic. This is the free version of it. There is a paid version, but really the free version works just fine. So to get the program, you simply go over to Resonic, I do believe, or download Resonic in a Google search or however you want to get there. The very top hit, it's resonic.at. Click on that. And then they have the pro version, and then they have the player. Okay, so you just click the player, install the program onto your computer, and you'll be good to go. So this is what you come up with. What's great about this is that you can visually see the waveform as it's going along. So if you hit play on here, and I recommend you use the space bar. That's the best way to do it, instead of relying on a mouse command, which could create errors. Okay, so then you could either click on the file, or you can hit spacebar. So I'll click on that. You can see a rough idea in terms of the volume over in the right corner. Over in the right corner. And again, hitting spacebar is really one of the best ways to stop it. That's really pausing it. And then you can hit pause again. And then when the next scene comes, you could cue it. Now you can also cue it so it doesn't play right away. But the other thing is, often this is designed for it to play the next file right away. What you want to do is disable that feature. So you can see it did that. So I would click on here, stop at current file. And you can, like, again, click on it, double click, or spacebar. You could even take the arrow, I do believe. There you go. This is the intermission music for The Crucible. Fantastic production. Really good music from Bennett Ashlock. That's pausing, and that's playing it again, just using the spacebar. There are many other programs you could use. You could probably use iTunes, other types of playback software, but this is the one I suggest you use. This concludes the basic introduction to the spatial audio system that we have created here at Arkansas Tech University, Techionery Theater. I need to emphasize that this is a wonderful addition to the university in terms of its performative spaces. because you see, there's something that's very important that has occurred in the professional audio world, and it's called spatial audio, also known as immersive audio. We've had surround sound for a long time, and it's been in a lot of films, and it's only been available to the professionals in the film industry. So you probably have heard of 5.1, 7.1, and other derivations. Now it's gotten very mainstream and accessible to all kinds of media producers. And so the idea is, instead of having just two speakers, the left and right, for what's called a stereo configuration, what we now have is, you could call it surround sound, but really it's an immersive sound. And what's significant is that it's designable, meaning we can decide how we want to configure it. What I've shown you here is only scratching the surface of what's possible at this space, this theater. And as far as I know, we're the only one right now that has it in Arkansas. I know that there is what's called an ambisonics research array at the University of Arkansas at the architecture department. And that's what's really important to emphasize here, is that usually it has come from departments or disciplines in a university that are not from the music department. As crazy as that all sounds, it's true. You will find lots of sound design programs not based in the music department, which is more concerned about what I call mechanical, acoustic instruments, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. Anyhow, special thanks to the people who put this all together. First and foremost, I want to thank Francis Roberson and Dr. David Eshelman for thinking big that we could actually do something like this. And with equal thanks, I have to shout out to my colleagues at the Ross Pendergraph Technology Center and Library, at the ITS, Instructional Technology Services. So Lawrence Ford, Austin, and Jeff were just fantastic in getting this together. I really appreciate their foundational work to put these speakers and mount them and to get this all going. I also want to thank Faith Robinson for her fantastic work at the theater. She undoubtedly has a great career ahead, and I wish her all the best. And then that's it. Thank you all. I'm very grateful for this performative space, and I look forward to what we can do in the future.